Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Vishnu Doerga from ActionCOACH Guyana, and we are having several interviews where we're talking to very forward-looking persons, very talented persons for advice, and not just advice, to also learn what has worked well for them in order for many more people to really be able to get some of these lessons in order to be able to apply in their organizations as well. And in many cases, we also provide quite a bit of knowledge that could be used in our personal life and on the general circumstances. So my guest today is Dr. Indira Couch from the CEO of ActionCOACH Trinidad and Tobago. So Indira, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, Vishnu. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be a part of your elite group, it sounds like, forward-thinking persons. Thank you for considering me. So I'm really happy to be here.
Very welcome. So in our network, I am pretty familiar with the work that you are doing in Trinidad, and I would really want for you, first of all, to tell me a little bit more about ActionCOACH Trinidad. When did you get started, and what does ActionCOACH Trinidad bring to the marketplace?
So Vishnu, we are the world's #1 business coaching business. And what we do as business coaches is we work with organizations to help them to increase profits, build stronger teams, and work smarter, not harder. I'm also an engage and grow coach, and actually I'm currently ranked #1 in the world, which is quite an achievement. I have to work extremely hard to meet that status, but I've been doing a pretty good job of it so far. But I'm an engage and grow coach, which means that we also do what we call team activation. So as business coaches, we take care of and we support our clients through, like I said, through all of the various aspects of business. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we've actually been here since 2016. We've had a presence before, but really a very limited presence. When I came in 2016, we really ramped up the business in terms of me being the CEO. And given that opportunity, I was then able to take the business to a whole other level, because we actually have a number of strategic alliances with large organizations. For example, we work very closely with Republic Bank, for example, and other medium and small businesses as well. And we have quite a robust sort of database of clients whom we serve. And we continue to grow as people get to hear about the really fantastic results that we've been able to accomplish for our clients.
Oh, that is very interesting to hear as well. And you did mention your collaborations with Republic Bank, for example. Can I ask, what's the general client? What does your general client look like? What is the average client that you as an action coach in Trinidad work with?
Well, it's actually very simple, Vishnu. Our ideal clients are growth-minded individuals who invest in themselves and in their teams. So we're very much interested in, and people who come and be a part of our community. In fact, I just finished an accountability club coaching session with some clients, and they all recognize that when they are part of our Action Coach community, they recognize the value of synergy and collaboration, because that's really critical to really being successful in business, is that most people who come and most people who are a part of our community recognize that there is enough for everyone. It's what we call an abundance mindset. So people who recognize that there is enough for everyone, but we work together synergistically.
Very good. So you're telling me that it doesn't depend heavily on the size of the business, but more on the mindset of the owner. So you did mention that they must be willing to grow. Any other qualities that come to mind? Because there may be people looking at this particular broadcast in Trinidad, in Guyana, across the Caribbean, and we do have offices across the Caribbean, who kind of want to know, India is mentioning growth oriented. How do I know if I fit that particular mold. So if you can give me a little bit more clarity so people out there can know, is this something for me?
Right. So what we recognize is that they're basically a growth mindset and fixed mindset. And in a nutshell, a growth minded or someone with a growth mindset is someone who sees the opportunity in a setback or a challenge. In other words, a fixed mindset person would typically see a failure as, destroying them. They wouldn't be able to pick themselves up and say, you know what, I really need to get back on the horse. What do I need to do? And not just what I need to do, because what I like to remind our clients about, and it's part of, again, the people who end up working with us and being really successful with us, is that success is not something that you chase like you chase butterflies. A lot of people come to me and they say, Indy, I can do all these things and I can learn this and I can change, I can go and learn sales training. And yeah, that's great. They get some great results. But a lot about success is not just the things you have to do, but it's about the person that you need to become. So we have a formula at Action Coach where, it basically looks like this. It's B times do equals have. And what we say is that who you need to become, because what happens with success, it becomes something you attract by the person you become. And that's a really important part of this journey. And the difference with us and other businesses is that we recognize that the mindset part is really such an important part and a critical part of growing. So people will typically go, like I said, and do a course here and a course there and learn stuff. And yeah, it's great. I know all this information and the 4 P's of marketing and whatever, but it's really a lot around what do I need to do to get out of my own way? Because I am part of the problem and who do I need to become if I want to take the business to this level?
And why is it that people are generally not wanting to look inward, and usually when things go wrong, they're looking everywhere else except looking at themselves?
Because it's too hard, Vishnu. Come on. It's a really hard job. And not only that, it's a very lonely place. Because when you get on this path, as we all know, because all of us have been on this path, it becomes lonelier and lonelier because we get really clear on 3 things that are really important. And one of them is who are the people that we surround ourselves by? And are those people helping us to grow? Are those people inspiring us and motivating us? And sometimes we may even have to leave some people behind. The other part is the knowledge base. What are we feeding our minds? We're not listening and watching all the soap operas and all the, fearful and gossip and drama news because we're so focused on what do we need to do to be productive and to grow and to learn. And have some fun as well. And the other part is the physical. So we may take a really, interesting view. Like, for example, for me, I'm in bed. Typically, my kids are putting me to bed at 8:30 at night, but that's because I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, that's not a particularly, a lot of people go like, what are you mad? I would never do that. But I'm on a journey, and that journey requires me to be my best self or to be the best version of myself. And that's what I need to do for me. So pay attention to what I'm feeding my body, my mind, my spirit. It's not an easy job. It's not an easy shift, Vishnu. It's tough.
Right, and if we do want better, we do have to be able to push ourselves through that shift. And if we can't do it ourselves, get help. That's what we as coaches do. For those of you looking at the video right now, thank you very much for joining us. Click like, click love, share it with anybody you think can really utilize this knowledge that you're receiving as well. India, I'm getting a little bit of your sound going in and out, so maybe if you come a little bit closer to the device. And what I also want to ask you, we have now experienced, in Guyana, we're experiencing several crises, but the one that is really affecting us right now is the COVID lockdown. We've had to change the way we do business somewhat. I know that you're advising many, many businesses and coaching many businesses in Trinidad. What are some of the strategies that you have transferred to these companies that work particularly well?
So the minute it happened, we basically went out and we did quite a few webinars to our community in terms of the number of steps that they need to take in terms of being able to kind of manage the crisis. But we then realized as things unfolded that we really need to get people to take a look at planning their businesses and and what we call pivoting in terms of really re-strategizing, because many of them had already started to develop their 90-day plans, and they suddenly realized, oh my God, I need to break the business model. I need to change my delivery. I need to change the way I'm actually doing finance. I need to change, working, in terms of, remote working and introducing other concepts. In fact, just this morning, I had a conversation with another client, and we discussed at length about the leadership and how the leadership has changed during this time. So there were many aspects of the businesses that people are having to break the business model and really re-strategize, pivot. And those pivots have even been sometimes a series of small pivots, because we would be going along one way and then all of a sudden you need to pivot again. So a lot of companies realized that they did not have the agility that they had, or they thought that they had, to really be able to navigate their way through this time. So we've been working very closely with them, and in fact, a lot more than we normally would, because like I said to you, we normally do coaching sessions maybe once a fortnight. Now sometimes we speak 2 to 3 times a week. But we are here holding their hands, and for that they are very grateful. And we again, with this one client this morning, she said to me, I'm so grateful to you, because you are the beacon, you are the one taking us through this, because we are part of a large network, as you know, Vishnu. We have access to information. Some of our Brad Sugars and some of our coaches in the US are the persons who coach some of the CEOs and GMs in the world, and so they are able to feed back to us a lot of what are the trends they're seeing, some of the things that are happening in terms of restrictions being eased, etc. And so we're able to get that information and really be able to share it very quickly with our customers and our clients. And so they feel very reassured that they can trust us, because we see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not really quite here. It's probably maybe 300 miles away behind a door, right? But at least we see it, and they trust us to know that we can guide them through this very choppy, difficult time. And that's feeling very, very, good about.
And sometimes people might also think that Action Coach is India and Trinidad, or Action Coach is Vishnu and Guyana. And you just touched on the fact that there are over 1,000 offices in 80 plus countries, and our coaches are coaching medium, large companies, the extra, ultra corporate. So we're able to really work with those type of organizations to really help them get the clarity that allows them to make better, faster decisions. In terms of the industries that you're seeing that are doing well in Trinidad and the ones that are not doing so well, what comes to mind in terms of advising businesses where to look at in the future? How should they start changing their business for the future?
And so a lot of it has, and I see you did the ISO course yesterday with your clients as well, is that a lot of it has to do with how we have to change the way in which we're delivering our products and services. So that's a lot around breaking the business model around that. A lot of my clients also have had to re-educate their customers around payment. Typically people still want to write checks. Now everything has to be done online, ACH. We have to change the way we're actually doing collections. We also have to change the way in which we're going to be managing our teams and communicating with our teams. So just last night, I did a webinar with our Engage and Grow CEO. Maybe not a CEO, but our CEO and the founder of Engage and Grow. And he spoke a lot about the disengagement that a lot of companies are seeing right now, given this remote working, and how do we really need to change the way we're doing things to keep people more engaged around the remote working, and the fact that that's not likely going to change for, right now. So I'm going to be running a few webinars again with some of my clients to help them to really improve on that engagement as we ease the restrictions, because even though the restrictions will be eased out, there are going to be some things in the social distancing, for example, the sanitation and all those kinds of practices that will have to be absolutely, there's no negotiation, 100% compliance around those things. So, yeah, so coming out of this, the other thing that's important really is the organizational flexibility, and really in terms of the people part. So again, talking to some of my clients, the resistance to change, why it is that people have been resisting the change in their teams, how people have actually showed up during this crisis, and how do we really continue to work with people to, manage that in terms of how that resistance could really impact the business going down the road. Because if the teams are going to continue resisting change, then what are we going to do? Is it that we haven't really we've not done a good enough job of the vision? Like, what do we really need to do? We need to enroll and inspire people around, the fact this is not going to get any better. This is what it is. This is the new now. So what do we need to do, and why it's important to do it?
And in Guyana as well, we had a curfew order that expires on May 3rd. So anytime now, we're expecting to be informed of what the new curfew conditions will be and what is allowed and what is not allowed. It has been, very difficult for businesses and organizations that have not set themselves up really well. They don't have the cash flow to pay salaries for more than a month. So if it is to be extended, businesses that haven't done the groundwork in the past can really feel the squeeze as well. In hindsight, there's a million things they could have done to be in a bit more stronger position today. But we are expecting that there might be an extension if it's 2 weeks or a month, in order to also, flatten the curve, because our healthcare system isn't fantastic. And the last thing we would want to do is to overwhelm our healthcare system, that it can't deal with the number of cases coming in. So there is that balance between healthcare and economics. What do you see happening in Trinidad over the next next couple of weeks? Because that's basically how we're playing it right now, week to week instead of month to month and quarter to quarter. But what do you see from a general perspective of what is going to be likely to happen in Trinidad when it comes to curfews and movement of people?
Well, ours has been extended until the 10th of May. So we have an additional 2 weeks. And during this time, there's going to be a lot more rigorous testing to see, if our numbers are, because right now our numbers have plateaued. And I think we've actually got a ranking. I think we're second in the world right now after Vietnam in terms of managing, the rate of the spread, and really in terms of when, anticipating being our restrictions being lifted. So we have a couple more weeks of this. Of course, there are a lot of my clients we've already positioned in terms of next week. What are the things we need? Well, they've already started doing a lot of planning. Which are the areas that are going to be allowed out first? So what are the departments that are critical? Because with some of my clients, the departments, some of the operations departments, because they're critical services, they've actually still been in operation, but they've been doing kind of alternate shifts to manage, and or to mitigate any risk. So we have that going on. But then in terms of the other departments, how are we going to, plan out in terms of people coming back into work? I am not aware of the government's position as it pertains to how they intend to roll out the ease. I'm not sure if it's going to be similar to the UK, which they're thinking about what's called shielding. So, of course, the vulnerable and older populations will not be allowed out first, maybe younger people, children. certain services. I knew in Europe, for example, I saw in Belgium, they opened up haberdasheries and those kinds of things first because they wanted people to, be able to get fabric, for example, to make masks and those kinds of things. So I'm not aware of what that's likely to look like, but what I'm doing is preparing my clients for right now that when we do get back, because they've already, and to your point, Vishnu, about not having cash flow. Some of the small businesses, were not prepared for it, but you'd be amazed that there's other larger businesses as well that were not prepared for this. So it really got businesses the opportunity to really take a look at this adversity and say, oh my gosh, what do I need to make sure that I have in place for this to ever happen again, that I will not get caught with my pants down, as Warren Buffett would say. In terms of really looking at how they plan to roll out in terms of sharpening their tools, so some of them are doing sales training, some are doing leadership training, some are continuing to really make sure that when they get back out, they're ready. So also we're going to be running a quality assurance program for many of our clients as well, just knowing what are the flow chart steps you need to take to ensure that delivering safely, hygienically, on time, and exceeding customer expectations at the same time. So we'll see. Again, I think a lot of this is really the behavior around being agile and being flexible, because things will change, but it's just for us to be poised and us to be ready. And as Brad would say, as he said on numerous occasions, what's going to happen? Because of the rate at which this pandemic, the crash that took place, that was so rapid, which is what led to so much of the fear and the panic. What's going to happen equally is how quickly that increase is going to happen as well. So we really have to be ready for that, because it's going to go from like 0 to 100 in a very short time for some organizations. So they really have to be ready.
Oh, definitely. And, it makes me think as well that organizations do need to be able to plan for not just the long term, but at the moment they will have to make very quick decisions in order to remain relevant, in order not to deplete their cash reserves. But let's say if we take it a step closer to home, because there are a lot of individuals, employees, who don't have control over what their organization does. What's the type of advice that you would provide to individuals right now who may be either working remotely or may just be sitting at home with no clear guidance? What would be your guidance to them?
Well, a couple of things. I think right now there's a lot of available information, and including even from us, we are giving. We have a lot of learnings, a lot of webinars, a lot of training. I think it's a great opportunity for people to think, well, what do I need to do to repurpose myself? What skills do I need to learn? Or because we all know technology is like non-negotiable now. And coming out of this, one thing is for sure, all of us, including the baby boomers, anybody who has complained about using a phone, using technology, that all is out of the window, because this is the new now. So using the opportunity to say, well, what do I have control over? I don't have control over this COVID. I don't have control over the government. My companies had to do this. What do I need to do? So repurposing, retooling, sharpening your mindset. I mean, the other thing that's going to be really important during this time is being extremely resilient, but from a mindset point of view. So being able to rally this and make good decisions around, where do I spend my time and my energy and my effort. So repurposing, training, growing, developing, maybe putting your resumes out there, looking for opportunities, maybe some entrepreneurial opportunities. I think there'll be a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities. We've seen from a lot of the trends about the new business areas that are going to happen in terms of, agriculture, food security is a big one. I think there's a huge opportunity for, I mean, your nation, which is a huge land, a lot of land, to do much more agriculture, really, feed not just yourselves, but others. Technology, great opportunity for technology, great opportunity in health services as well. So, a lot of trends and we have a lot of skills in Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, we have like an over with the free education, the free university education, we have, high literacy rates and a lot of very, very highly educated people in Trinidad and Tobago. So, we have a saying in Jamaica. I lived in Jamaica for 21 years, and it's one that I'm trying to find a Trini equivalent. So if there are any Trinis listening to this, please help me because I cannot find the equivalent. But it goes like this: you have to turn your hand and make fashion. And we say it in Jamaica, we say turn hand and make fashion, meaning that when a situation arises, you just have to turn that thing into something because you can turn it around and make it work. It's a great saying, but I think that's really the reality that if we only have control over ourselves, so what do we need to do to turn hand and make fashion?
Well, I think maybe the American way or the English way is, take the lemons and make lemonade.
I know, but I don't like that. I
Gotta
want
find
to
a
make
pretty
it.
one.
We
I
need a
think that's
Trini version
probably
or a Chinese version. Come on, make up one, the man.
for my Chinese colleagues who are watching right now. If you guys can think of one that really is truly Guyanese, help me out as well. But one of the sayings that I really like that came out of all of this particular period is that as growth-oriented individuals, we really do have to stand guard at the door of our mind because there is so much negativity going around. If we wanted to, we could be glued to the news 24/7. But we really have to decide what we allow into our mind because whatever we allow into our mind really takes up our time. So, with that said, sometimes when we're in a situation to have to make the decisions moving forward, I would like you to talk about the value of mentorship, the value of coaching. We are business coaches, so it's easy for businesses to work with us because we could be budgeted for and we deliver a return on investment. But what about people out there who have heard about all this coaching and they really are thinking about it? Do I need it? Don't I need it? What would be your guidance to them?
Well, the thing is, Vishnu, is I have a I have a very we have varying programs and that apply to everybody. But what it really boils down to is yeah, as a coach, we do four things, right? So the first thing we do is we help you to get clarity around your personal goals and your business goals. The second thing is that we educate you, we mentor you, we transfer our skills to you. Now, one of the things I always love about the difference with coaching is that kind of like my son plays badminton and he may have a coach and the coach will say to him, well, you need to tweak your performance. So as a coach, what we're doing is we're helping people to tweak their performance, but they kind of have to know how to do it first. But sometimes they may not know it. So sometimes we have to step into the role of being the trainer, skills transfer, or we really have to help them to get that knowledge and that competency or whatever it is very quickly. So that's the other thing that we do. And it's really important for us to understand that the last two parts, which are really, I think, the most important part, is building out an action plan and then having someone keep you focused and accountable. So, like, even with my fitness instructor, she actually sent me something, asked me what my goal was as a physical level. And then I need her every single morning to keep me focused and accountable. Because, yes, I can do it myself. But we have a tendency to be like, yeah, well, I'll do it. But if I mean, there's some of us who know that we need to be held accountable because there's somebody you need to say, hey, I need you to do this, but because I want to do this well, I also want her observing me to make sure that my form is correct, that I'm doing it the right way, because I could do it, but I may be leaning over and I could be, hurting my elbow or my shoulder or something. So for me, I am prepared because I recognize that my health is so important that I pay her to do that for me. So it's the same as a business coach. My business is so important to me. I want to have the best in the industry. I want to have someone who can guide me with the right systems, the right tools, the right methodologies. I do not have the time nor the money to play guessing games. And yes, it's great. I can read a book or two, but can I really take the learnings from that book and really implement it in my business? And as you know, what we're doing as action coaches, we're helping people to create commercial profitable enterprises that run without them. And we have access to all of the tools, the team part, the engagement part, and our business model works not just for small businesses, but for medium businesses and even for some large corporates as well, because a lot of them do not have a lot of the systems and the tools and methodologies, and plus, of course, the mindset, which we work on as well. So
Well,
I would say everybody needs a coach, Vishnu. And we have from as little as $100 a session for what we call accountability club, which is really a huge investment. I mean, I just finished a session with a group, and they paid for me like, you know, 1,000. The amount of value they get from that one session is amazing, because they go back and it makes huge differences already in their businesses. So the accountability club, we have mentor club, which is a group coaching session, but also allows some one-on-one. We have one-on-one coaching, which is really our kind of, high-end elite program, but it's really it's for people who want immediate results and focused results. So, they get, a different package to the ones who would do the accountability club and the mentor club. We also do planning, business planning. We do any manner of all aspects of trading. So sales and marketing and team. Like I said, we have the engagement program, the high performing team. It's called a engagement program, but it's really about how to create a high performing team. Leadership programs, you name it, we do it, Vishnu. Finance, cash flow, budgeting. I mean, we just discussed a whole session this afternoon with some clients around budgeting and what they're going to do with their budgets, given this period, and how their budgets are looking. So
so
everything from a pin to an anchor in business.
yep, and it's quite amazing with the amount of support, and we are on a little bit of a different path for me. This was my retirement focus. So in Guyana, I'm really focused on working with people who are really serious about making an impact for themselves, their families, their communities. So yeah, so what we also really want to make sure that we focus on is to find these people who are really serious about their own goals. And like you, I also have a coach. I get coached every Monday at 2:15, and you would be amazed what that accountability does. Monday before 2:15, if I haven't done anything yet for the previous week, everything gets done on the Monday, and it tells me as well that we are capable of putting in the work that is needed in a very short amount of time, when we know that we will be held accountable. Because the worst thing that could happen is your coach asking you, so you said that this thing was important, you said that it was impactful, it would have moved you forward. What's happening? Why isn't it done? And as you mentioned, sometimes it could be because they don't know how. Well, then we need to take a step back and train to really get them that skill to move forward. Because sometimes people say that they can do stuff that they really don't know how to, and they can only get past with that once. After that, we will understand, okay, now I know where you really are, and I can prepare you to move ahead. As we have a comment here, we're human, so we need that human interaction. I see more of life coach than an action coach. So maybe that's a good question, Indy. Are we just about business, or do we also help people with their personal?
Absolutely not. It was one of the first things I said is that we help people to get clarity around their personal goals and their business goals. And that it's really important that it's not just about what you need to do. Yes, the sales trading, but who do we need to become? That become is what has differentiated us, Action Coach, to any other education. And when my clients come and they do our sessions, one of the things they say that's a big takeaway for them, they've been to university, they've done a degree, they've done an MBA, they've done all of this. They never realized, oh my God, I needed to get out of my own way. I am the problem. Who do I need to become to take that step? Because I've been doing all this learning and learning and learning, but it's just not helping me. I mean, I'm sure there are lots of people out there who feel that. Yeah, I've been going to that course. I have, people who like, I see people with resumes and they've done like a zillion things, and I'm like, yeah, but it still hasn't helped them. It's this. Who do you need to become?
Yeah, it's the six inches between your two ears that is usually holding you back. And when until people make the decision to really get out of their own way, they'll stay stuck where they are. So I'm thinking as well that how do we get persons to snap out of it? What's your best way to get people to snap out of sabotage, self-sabotage, procrastination, and being in their own way?
Well, I think they're either not dissatisfied enough. It's usually that they're not dissatisfied enough. They have a vision. I have a client right now who has a huge vision, fantastic vision. Really, I mean, she gets excited about the vision, and she told me, "I'm really scared, but I'm really excited," which is great, as you know. But she doesn't have the first step, and that's what we have at Action Coach. We have all the tools, the systems, the methodologies. She has her vision. She's dissatisfied enough. She doesn't have a clue. What do I need to start doing? And we're going to take her through those first steps. We'll do an alignment with her. We'll build out, her 3-year plan, bring it back to her 1-year plan, and then look at her 90-day plan. And to your person's point, that 90-day plan always has to have a piece of who do I need to become? Because it's not just, yes, I need to do this and I need to do this and build a team or whatever, but as you know, a really important part of that alignment is who do I need to become?
The big thing we usually hear is that I wish I had known about you guys earlier. I wish I had taken this step earlier, because the massive changes as well. When somebody is really serious and they get that clarity and they do the things they need to do on a daily and a weekly basis, improvements come really fast. So even in Guyana, we're now looking at the project of how do we bring some of this knowledge to school age kids, because it's tough when you're 30, 40, 50 years old to then realize how much you've really been missing, because in school they never dealt with personal development, they never dealt with developing social skills, they never dealt with how to collaborate, how to function within a team. So it's something that we are looking heavily on. Hopefully we'll be able to really make that big announcement really soon, because I think if our kids were to learn the things that we are teaching adults right now, the world would really be a fantastic place.
I love that, because that's one of my great goals is to really impact parents and parenting specifically, because I really see an opportunity, given my background and the way that I was brought up and how I had to shift everything. I had to let go of everything that I was taught to really become that parent that I wanted to be, because we carry with us, I mean, some good things, but some not so good things as well. And really be able to raise my children to, being kind of growth minded, very aware, conscious, citizens who really want to give back and really want to make an impact, in a significant way. And not just from, just having more money. This is not just about money. This is about a bigger thing about why, they're connected to doing what they're doing. So building community and, and in a conscious way.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I'm really happy that you're able to take some time out to have this discussion. I think, people generally see us working with companies, they hear about all the fantastic results. But I'm sure sometimes people just want to hear a discussion between two coaches and hear what that would sound like. So I'm happy that you're able to take that time. Before we wrap up, though, is there any other piece of advice that we might have missed out on, or anything else that you would share with the audience in Trinidad, with the audience in Guyana? I'm sure this is being watched all across the Caribbean as well, that you believe is critical at this point in time, or just that they can utilize in their life moving forward?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, one is really, so one I always come back to, well, it's actually three things. One, I always come back to the mindset. So the mental resilience and about how we really have to shift in our terms of our thinking and really in terms of our abundant mindset. So yes, we talk about collaboration and that's critical at this time. So we used to hear about that kind of crab in the barrel, kind of scarcity thinkers that somebody had to win. There was always some one person that had to win. No, there is enough for everybody. So let us really think about and get more mindful. So our mindset and our abundant mindset, but also our resilience. So really important to think about the second part, which is how we deal with this adversity and how we deal with this setback or this challenge. Because that is really going to determine our success, how we come through this, how we lead our teams, our families, our communities. And the third one that I would say that has been a real light bulb for me during this time is, is a very simple term, and it's basically comes down to prioritizing progress over perfection. It's been a big, big BFO for me, blind flashes of the obvious for those of you part of the community. It's been like really, I've had to stay focused on prioritizing progress over perfection because when I did my first Zoom and my first webinar, it wasn't perfect. But guess what? I needed to do something. And it wasn't perfect, but it was okay because at least I was doing something because I knew I had to communicate with my clients and my community. So yeah, that has been a big takeaway for me in this period.
Thank you very much. So prioritizing progress over perfection, right? Do something, keep moving, expect it to have some flaws, expect some mistakes, but do it anyway. I think I read a very nice poem this morning by Mother Teresa as well. That the title is basically "Do It Anyway" because the world needs it. Your potential needs it as well. I would say that. It is very important for people to take in information, make sure that you do the best you can at this particular point in time. India, I do look forward to being able to talk to you again in the future so that we can have these discussions that people can listen to and then pick what they need. I know that for us right now, the level of inquiries that are coming in, we are doing our best to schedule them, work out how we can serve as many people as possible. In Guyana, we do have a team of 4 coaches. I'm aware that you have a team of 3 coaches. But if somebody is looking at this right now and they're thinking, this Dr. Indira Couch, I really love what she does. I wish that when I grow up, I'd be like her to help as many people as possible. So if anybody's thinking about maybe becoming a coach or joining the Action Coach team, is that forcible? Is it a possibility? And if so, what do they need to do?
Absolutely, that's a possible. We're looking at growing our team. I mean, we not just our Action Coach team, but our Engage and Grow team as well, because we see huge opportunity, down the road. We really can't even sometimes, we have a small team and we're able to like really churn out a lot, but we know that coming down the pipeline, just given the interest and the conversion that we've been getting, we have to grow our team. So yes, if you are interested in becoming a member of the team, or if you are interested in learning more about our programs, there are 2 ways. You can actually go to LinkedIn. So I'm actually there, Indira Couch on LinkedIn. So connect with me there. And you can also connect on our Facebook page as well, because we'll check the messages. But really importantly, send us an email. And that is to administrator@actioncoach.com. Okay, administrator@actioncoach.com.
Right.
All
Great. So
right.
same thing goes for Guyana as well. Anybody looking to join a fun team, we make sure we do our best to make sure that as we get results, that we also have a lot of fun together as a team. Many of us are around the same age range as well. Our clients as well. You know, we really enjoy that community with our clients. We have I would, at the risk of offending, I think we have the best clients in the world.
Yeah,
Right?
I know, right? We
I'm sure
do.
you feel the same
We
way about
do.
it. But the community we have with our clients is just amazing. They're more like family than I would consider clients. I think we've provided them with a lot of growth. They're really grateful for what we bring to their lives, and it's such a grateful feeling. And every morning when I think about what I'm grateful for, and I'm really grateful to have such a strong team and belong to such a strong community as well. That during this time, the level of innovation, cooperation, collaboration that is taking place between and within our community is just amazing. So, Indy, thank you very much for taking the time out to really have this discussion with me, and I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon.
Thank you so much, Vishnu. Appreciate that you have called upon me to be part of your elite network.
Thank
So
you very
thanks.
much.
Looking forward to doing this again. All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Stay
Okay,
safe.
bye. Sorry?
Stay safe.